Alright guys, so we're back with another Legacy DM game cast, and we've got Nakamura as Isis, instantly going for Mercenaries, and he's up against Yoshii on Zeus. Yoshii, his villagers fought a little bit. He's actually gonna maybe secure along here, protect the second town center. Really they're gonna have to put some walls there to keep it safe. So the mercenary rush has started from Nakamura. But considering this building placement from Yoshii, I don't know if Naka's really going to be able to pressure any villagers. So I mean, it's really defensive. It sort of makes it hard to actually set up a market line for this until he cuts through here. Puts his markets like right here. But for now it also keeps his villagers very safe. But he is going to have to try and repair this barracks. It's Nakamura, some crazy early pressure with these mercenaries. Just bearing in mind, while they do train extremely fast and you get them out of the town centre, you could have spent that time training villagers, and they do die after 102 seconds, I think. So Nakamura just using the rock for vision and to tank, while he streams in some of the mercenary cavs. And he's actually having to defend now from Yoshii, who's able to field some hoplites out of these military academies. So Mythic Age coming in for Yoshii. Nakamura's already got his. So I think Yoshii's probably going to try and focus on Colossus creation later on. For now he's got to try and get set up, get on 3 town centers, because for now the Egyptian player has all the pressure. Nice walling here from Nakamura. Going to be very hard to take that 3rd town center. Even this front town center for him very safe. Yoshii also quite safe. His 3 town centers fairly towards the back of the map. So Nakamura's town center here quite exposed on the other hand. Even still, some nice tree lines around it. Neither player is north, so neither of them can just evaporate this wood line. Nakamura able to really keep Yoshii from getting his multiple fortresses out. So they're going to be quite useful, having the catapult unit for the Greeks, as well as their siege tower unit. So you got Petropolis and Heliopolis, I think it is. Ability does go down. Some mummies here for Nakamura. So these guys quite expensive, but the beauty is their special attack one-shots units and turns them into a minion. Really useful when your opponent has quite high value mythic units that are quite tanky and hard to bring down. Strangely, I don't think they were focusing down the Minotaur there. But for now, Nakamura seems to have everything going his way. He's a little bit slower with getting his town centers finished, I was going to say, but no, the game's just lying to me. He's going to get that 3rd town center now, and Yoshii hasn't been able to get his 3rd. In the meanwhile, he's mostly having to use his villagers to play extremely defensive, get enough guard towers out just so that he can really repel this push, because there's now some Ellies out in the field in good number. 5 of them there at the front. So Nakamura is really going to be able to lock up the hoplites in focusing down the elephants and try and take down the fortresses with some good units against these buildings. The chariots, not quite so good against the structures of Yoshii, who's also got some Toxotes here to really thin out the axeman count. Bellerophon's just really nice and mobile. That charge attack means he can leap into the middle of a fight and also disengage quite quickly as a cavalry unit. But yeah, for now Yoshii's really having to play quite defensively. Nakamura even setting up with some side built barracks and his market line down here. Yoshii now looking to get that 3rd town center. I don't think he's got set up for any trade just yet. So he's mostly focusing on defending at this point. In a really good clean push here from Nakamura. And he's set up pretty much perfectly behind it defensively. Now he's even going to deny. Into you. I was going to say, was he going to stop there? But no, he's going to come around and try and deny the settlement. Let's see where he used a Locust Swarm. Oh, here we go. He's used it on the settlement. Really nice. So Nakamura denying Yoshii's ability to get that third settlement up. And that's really important because Nakamura right now, 166 max pop. Yoshii, 140. It would be 160 because bearing in mind Isis does get some bonus population. Not a huge amount, but some. But yeah, with that slower town center, just really makes holding here very difficult because now the fortresses have both gone down and Nakamura's even gone for Eclipse. So Yoshii's locked out of using any of his powers. He can't resto through this fight, so he has to hold on. He can't even use plenty to actually get a little bit of resources through this fight. He is going to need to spend a lot because Nakamura has a huge number of units on his doorstep at the moment. It's a really, really nice defensive layout for Yoshii. I've said it a couple of times already. But maybe he can just hold, but he needs to be able to focus down the catapults or get these Helepolis to take down the towers before they finish up. The problem is Nakamura is continuing to push forward because Eclipse gives an attack and attack speed bonus, I believe, to the units. And movement speed. So it's a pretty brutal god power. It's probably one of the best in the game. And Nakamura is continuing to stream forward. He's running really low on gold though. Well, Yoshii's actually really ecoing up quite nicely behind this. He's got plenty in the bank still, but Nakamura has a pretty impressive villager count as we can see. But Yoshii, oh, the Eclipse ending, now able to use Resto. Now Nakamura having to bring everything back. He's got a bunch of mercenary cavalry because I think these guys don't take any population up. There's even some Peltus in the mix, so pretty useless against everything other than the chariots. But if they do focus down chariots, it can be very, very deadly. And I mean, they are a ranged unit. The Toxotes have double the damage and then some against units that neither of them counter. So Toxotes, just a very nice generalist archer for the Greeks as well as being their anti-infantry. While the chariots are just a through and through generalist art. Oh no, they also have a benefit against infantry. But yeah, the anti-infantry archers just end up being a bit more of a generalist archer than these shitty anti-ranged ones. That's why you don't see the Egyptian players fielding a lot of slingers in Deathmatch or in later game Supremacy. It's sort of a rushy early to mid game thing to go for a big slinger ball. So right now, Yoshii's managed to really stabilize his third TC economy, but bearing in mind I don't think he's actually got any trade behind this, so Nakamura I think is slowly going to edge him out on gold gathering. This has been a really nice push from Nakamura. He's managed to get a lot of the buildings. There's no forward fortresses and such. This one's going up now, but meanwhile all this production, all these barracks over here are going to fall. What's that relic? Cheaper villages. Well, that's not really any consequence at this point, but could be useful earlier. Mana hit points also not that huge. But the Son of Osiris, who's low, being used to clean up the Pegasus. Good burst damage, and I mean, when he's this low, I guess you don't really want to throw him away unless you really have to. So Nakamura, yeah, gonna use him to clean up the Pegasus. Pretty much one shots in there. Holy, that was a hard hit. And Nakamura continuing to stream forward. Yoshii now doesn't really have any vision of his trade anymore. Doesn't really look set to go for a push on it either. Because right now he's still having to hold out on his own doorstep. He's pretty food broke, even with 21 villagers on the food. Nakamura also pretty food broke, but bearing in mind he's got a very wood gold oriented army at the moment. Pretty much only the Axeman relying on food. So they keep streaming forward. All battle of the siege towers, and the siege tower comes off best against the Helepolis, but it is gonna fall now before it's really able to finish off. Oh no, the Toxotes aren't going for it. I was gonna say, he might have been able to bring down the house. The Axeman even being garrisoned in it. Another battle of the siege towers, but this time Helepolis is going to win that one. Nakamura just readying up to potentially pressure this southern town centre of Yoshii's, but Yoshii he's going to try and repair the fortress, but he's going to be a bit late. Oh, I mean, he could have gone. He could have kept the villagers going and repaired that. It's unfortunate he stopped to gather more favour. But I mean, he needs to gather favour as well, because I mean, if he wants to get Manticores for the ranged splash damage, or if he wants to get Colossi just to be a nice tank and be a nice pseudo siege unit against the buildings, he's going to need a bit more favour in the bank as well. Nakamura's even brought forward a priest. I don't know if he's really adding any more, but he does have a priest there in the army. Yeah, he does have priest production now. So he's alternating between priests and mummies. Really quite a nice thing to do as Egyptian. Have your desired mythic unit as well as your priests in production on the auto queue. A lot of villagers committing to favour Gen, but at this point Nakamura streaming forward once again, while Yoshii still really skint on food. Plenty of gold in the bank, which is surprising. I mean, he doesn't actually have a market line at the moment. Nakamura having to retreat for now. Siege Tower does get the military academy. Bearing in mind, military academies production facilities cost like what, 75 resources, 100 resources, versus the 300 of the melee siege. Nakamura gonna try and go for a aggressive MiG here and try and interrupt the chance to expand on this production, but Myrmidons now in production for Yoshii. So maybe this was the piece of the puzzle he was missing. And now both players also gonna go for this, well, Nakamura going for some aggressive side building, Yoshii setting up for trade. But it's too late for him, because Nakamura seems to have the map at the moment. Yoshii still ahead in score. He seems to still be repelling Nakamura, but this MiG going up, it can be quite devastating for him. The area damage, well, the shingles of steel, I mean, it sounds inconsequential, but, well, I mean, it does mean that you actually get a bit of safety with your population, because the biggest thing that costs you games in deathmatch is often just being unable to produce the units your opponent can. Once they actually take something like a town center off you and then snipe all your houses, it's very, very hard to come back, even if you've got the resources in the bank, because you've got to spend all this time replacing buildings to replace units. So the Nakamura trying once again, some Merc cavalry added in just to top it off, creeping forward with another MiG, while this first one able to rain down on the Peltus, which is quite nice for him. Yoshii's going to have to try and retreat outside the range of both of these MiGs. And bearing in mind, unlike the towers, they can just outright produce buildings, produce units as well. Might see some quick elephants or chariot production here from Naka out of these forward strongholds. And another one being built just to try and deny this town center from ever really being saved here. And if this goes down, it's really tough for Yoshii, because his market trade is out the window, and yep, GG, Yoshii has to tap out. I was going to say, his market trade's out the window, and he loses the Plenty Vault if he loses this town center. And well played, guys.